قل هل يستوي الذين يعلمون والذين لا يعلمون إنما يتذكر أولو الألباب.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Welcome to a new episode of your program, The Life of the Scholars. We've been talking about the importance of studying the life of the scholars. And last episode, we talked about the life of Mutarrif. And I'm very happy to have with me here in the studio my friends, Mamadou and Brother Muhammad. Thank you for being here today. And I'd like to thank you all for listening to our program. In this program, we try to, every time, to talk about one of the scholars, to explore the factor that shaped that person's life, special things about him or her, what kind of lessons that we can learn from their life, and that's something we do in the end of the episode. As I said before many times, it's very important for us when we study history, we go back in time and we look forward, not to look backwards. And that's what we try to do with any individual that we study his or her life. Today we're talking about someone, Abu Burda said, I witnessed the companions of the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and I have not seen anyone resemble them in our time today, that's Abu Burda's time, like this man. This man was born from almost unknown family. His father was a slave to Zayd ibn Thabit. His mother, she was a slave to Salama, the Prophet ﷺ's wife. And they deliver their baby in Medina. And he's known as Al-Hasan. Al-Hasan, the son of Yasar, or known as Al-Hasan al-Basri. Very well-known name. But hopefully we can explore things about him not very known to many people. He lived a very long life as well. He was born in 22 Hijri, which is about 642 CE, and he died 728 or 110 Hijri. So he lived a very long life. And that's good, because that means he have witnessed a lot of things during the course of his life. As I said, he was born into these two slaves who are so close to two great companions, one of them the mother of the believers. That's why Al-Hasan al-Basri said, when I was young, about a boy, I used to go to the Prophet ﷺ's houses, because his mother was slave to Salam. He said, I will jump and I will touch the Prophet ﷺ's house roof. And he said, he playing there. He said, I saw with my eyes the cups and the plates that the Prophet ﷺ ate from and drank from. It's very interesting to know that he was that close. He have seen how the Prophet ﷺ lived his life, simple life in Medina. When he was born, he was brought to Umar ibn al-Khattab radiallahu anhu. And Umar ibn al-Khattab prayed for him and made dua for him. He said, oh Allah, give him a good understanding of the religion. وَحَبِّبْهُ لِلنَّاسِ. Oh Allah, make him loved by people. And Al-Hasan al-Basri was loved by people. Definitely, this is something very clear about him. He studied and he learned from many companions. And he took his knowledge from a very pure source, which is the companion of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam at that time. He narrated from Ali ibn Abi Talib, from Aisha radiallahu anha, from Uthman, Muawiyah, Ammar, many narrators, and studied under so many companions. But one of his favorite was Anas ibn Malik. He basically studied under Anas ibn Malik for a quite long time. And he traveled with Anas even to Al-Basra. When Umar radiallahu anh sent him to Al-Basra, or he decided to move to Al-Basra, he combined him to Al-Basra and he was in his company. He stayed in Al-Basra and he lived there. That's why he became known as Al-Basri. Al-Basra comes from the Basra, which means eye. Umar built that. It's a city built by Muslims. So it's not like a city built by other civilization before Islam or other. It's built by the Muslim. And the reason for Al-Basra, the reason Umar built Al-Basra, because he wanted this to be a base for his military that goes to the Iraq or basically to watch the army that goes west or to go to the east, to basically the Roman front or the Persian front. So you can imagine this is a city with a lot of military presence. Soldiers usually are tough and rough people. You know, military, it's a tough thing. So, and also a lot of wealth, a lot of money, a lot of trade, because people comes and goes, nobody settled. And because of that, and this is one of the things that, in my opinion, shaped his life, you see Hassan al-Basri cared a lot in his life. We study his life. You will find two things that he focused on the most. The issue of you should attach your heart to the akhirah, not only to be involved in the dunya. Because in his city, it's a very materialistic life. You know, even al-Basra known where all the Mu'tazila came, the thinkers, and it is not the soft heart and kind of people, even the jurists and the theologian who came out of this place. It's known to be a very dry city. So he cared a lot about softening the heart. You know, people involved in war and killing and fighting, usually their heart is not that soft as farmers or, you know, people like normal citizen. Another thing that he cared about as well is the issue of brotherhood, the issue of social interaction, caring for one another. Because as you see, people travel, people don't live there for long, so there is no kind of relationship. If you look over the teaching of Al-Hasan, this is two themes are so clear in his life, so clear in his teaching. He always talk about this in many of his reminder, and we know that he's a very good preacher, rahimahullah ta'ala. So Al-Hasan al-Basri, this is how he grew up. Again, he witnessed the civil war that took place in between the companions of the Prophet ﷺ, and he had a very famous statement when someone asked him about it. He said, this is a war that Allah saved our hands from it, so we should save our tongue from it. Allah saved our hand from taking place in this war, so why would I involve my tongue? So let's stay away from it. And this is something that, in my opinion, very clear about his life. Many civil wars, many fitan and chaos and confusion and trials took place. He tried his best not to take part of it. Even Ibn al-Ash'ath, when he came, he never actually supported him, rahimahullah ta'ala. Even though he was forced to be in the side of Ibn al-Ash'ath, but it was under a threat. He was threatened by the people of Ibn al-Ash'ath, but he never really joined them. That's why the Umayyads never executed him or consider him, he betrayed them or anything like that. He was very well respected. He lived until the time of Umar ibn Abdul Aziz. So he witnessed the Hajjaj regime, the dictator, and he witnessed the symbolic of justice, which is Umar ibn Abdul Aziz. Yes. He witnessed the generation of the Sahaba, as well as he witnessed the generation of the Tabi'een and the successors. He lived the culture of Al-Hijaz, and he also lived the culture of Al-Iraq, which is a new culture, completely new culture. That's why it's very interesting when you see how they describe him. They describe him the way he dressed. He used to wear taylasan. Taylasan, something the Arab didn't used to wear. Taylasan was something known in Iraq. Some Jewish scholars wear it. And it's something known in Iraq, something you put on your shoulder or on your head. But he used to wear that. And he used to wear something very expensive. And it's very soft. And one person told about him once, he said, I saw him coming from a distance, and he was wearing things like yellowish, and he looks like a piece of gold, a shining gold. One person said once, I could not describe him with anything than to tell you, he looked like a prophet. Prophets usually have a perfect feature. He was a big guy. He was a big guy. He was tall, blonde hair, fair skin, a blonde beard, big beard, blonde beard, and his triceps was like spam like that.
Muscular.
A big guy, like big muscles. He's really huge. Everybody's speaking about it. And Ibn al-Arabi said something also unique. He was married to a woman from Ahl al-Kitab, most likely Christian woman. And we don't know any one of his children as a narrator or a scholar or anything like that. One thing we know about him, that he was a good cook and his wife cooked very good food. He always opened his door to welcome guests. One time he was sleeping and he woke up and he found people in his house, in the living area. You know, the small houses in the past, just 1 or 2 rooms maximum. He found them in the house. He said, since when you're here? He said, your wife let us in and she brought us food. He said, now you have proven that you are true brothers to me, that you didn't wait for my permission and you just came in and considered this is your place. He used to tell his students, you put your hand in your friend's pocket and you take what you want? He said, no. He said, so no, don't say you are brothers. He used to say, it's not from a good manners to make profit out of your friend. He goes by that code. If you see a rich person and poor person working together and they claim that they are brothers like brothers, he said, no, you're not. If you are, you will not let your friend poor like that. You would help him. And he said, if he's a true brother to you, you should not give him a loan. Give him the money. If he returns it, alhamdulillah. If he didn't, he's forgiven. I said he always cared about this character of being, you know, showing your love to your brothers, showing that unity with your brother. Rahimahullah ta'ala, there is a lot of things make him very special. A lot of things make him very special and unique. One of them, the broad knowledge that he had. Some people said that I spent 10 years studying with Hassan al-Basri. 10 years. Every day I used to learn something new. Can you imagine 10 years you're learning something new? That's very unique, by the way. Someone said I wrote down 7,000 mas'ala, 7,000 fatwa I learned from him. That's a lot. That's a lot of fatwas that he documented. Also, one thing about him that is very unique, his knowledge is the result of his righteousness. One of his students said, I haven't seen anyone knows the way to Jannah like Al-Hasan al-Basri. I haven't seen anyone knows the way to Jannah. He's like someone went there and he coming back to tell you about what happened in the Akhirah. When people gather with Al-Hasan, sit with Al-Hasan, they always cry and because the way he described Al-Jannah not as if he's a person who have seen it, not just talking about it. You know, there is more to be said about Hassan al-Basri, but let's have a break, a quick break, and we come back inshallah ta'ala after the break. So see you soon. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Welcome back to your program, The Life of the Scholars. We been talking about the life of Al-Hasan al-Basri rahimahullah ta'ala and how he was just not a scholar, but he was the master of the scholars of his time. He managed to reach that level. Al-Mughira said once that when it comes to the area of history and the Prophet ﷺ's life, seerah, and the area of judging between people, the one who mastered this area is Ibrahim, is Imam al-Sha'bi rahimahullah. And he said when it comes to the area of the fiqh of Hajj and Umrah, manasik, performing Hajj and Umrah, that will be Ata, the one who mastered this area. And when it comes to the area of as-salat, as-zakat, the halal and haram, lawful and unlawful, the thing related to the act of worship, that will be the area of Ibrahim al-Nakhai. And when it comes to the area of at-tafsir, tafsir al-Quran, this is the area of Sa'id ibn Jubayr. This is specialty. And when it comes to the area of business transactions, that will be Ibn Sirin. As for Al-Hasan al-Basri, he managed and he mastered all these areas. Kana sayyiduhum. He's the master of all of them. That shows you what kind of level this man he was. Everybody looking up to him. Khalid ibn Safwan once said, and one of the things that make him distinguish is the way that the scholar viewed him. Khalid Safwan once said, I know Al-Hasan al-Basri very well. He used to be my neighbor. We used to play together in the backyard. And he said, I can tell you that I have not in my whole entire life have seen someone who is inside and outside the same like Al-Hasan al-Basri. Whatever he said, he will do. And whatever he's doing, his action will match his words, and his words will match his actions. He said, I have seen him not in need of anyone, and everyone needs him. كان الناس يحتاجون إليه وليس بحاجة إليه. It's amazing when you read how they describe him, that they said when it comes, one of the things make him very special, that he's not only scholar, he's also a very good preacher. Not every scholar can give khutbah. As you know, not every good khatib is a scholar. Not everybody preach means he's a scholar. But he managed these two areas. He speaks very well, he's very eloquent. Some said because when he was a child, he was crying, and Salama radiallahu anha tried to make him quiet, she gave him her breast. And all of a sudden, a milk came down of her breast. And he basically drank from it. So this is the milk of the Prophet ﷺ. And the blessing of that, basically, milk, made him, when he speaks, he said, هذا الذي يشبه كلامه كلام الأنبياء. This is the one when he speaks, his words sounds like hadith, sounds like the words of prophets and messengers. Very eloquent speaker, very good. He knows how to touch your heart and also to stimulate your intellect. He knows how to talk to your heart as well as to your mind. He knows how to teach fiqh, but also very good when it comes to the spirituality. And he's very good when it comes to history, but he's a theologian. He mastered all these fields, and with all of this, so friendly, a very friendly face, very nice, has a lot of friends, he likes to help people, always goes and intercede in front of rulers. He used to participate in the ghazu, when there is an enemy attacking the Muslim border at that time or cities. He will be among the first people goes to fight. In the battlefield, they said, some said he witnessed 70 battlefield. In the battlefield, people used to hide behind him. I guess because he's a big guy too. So he knows how to fight very well. But it's amazing how he have all these variety of character traits in him, rahimahullah ta'ala. He's also he's an ascetic, a person who's very content with whatever Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala provide for him, was not looking after the dunya mainly in his hand, not in his heart, rahimahullah. He used to say, ما أطال الأمل عبد إلا وأساء العمل. Anyone has a long hope in the dunya will not be doing good for good deeds towards the akhirah. You always should have the akhirah in front of your eyes. This is your goal, this is your target all the time if you want to prepare yourself for it. Very moderate in his views. He understands the change that happened to the world at that time. At that time there were a very common opinion that's said by Ibn Umar, the great companion, in regard to taking financial reward for making a copy from the Mus'haf. Like if I want to write a copy from the Mus'haf, can I charge people for that service? Ibn Umar used to say, I wish that the judge treat those who sell the Mus'haf like those who steal the money. Cut their hands off. Because he doesn't like that concept. Because he doesn't want people to make money out of the Quran, so he started making copies which is not accurate. Turn it to a business. That's where Ibn Umar coming from. But Imam al-Hasan al-Basri didn't restrict himself to that popular opinion. He said it's okay to charge people because it's a service. That's a time they're going to put. And he said if you do it right, you should charge for it. And it's very interesting how he's very open-minded. One time he was told about a person said, oh, I'm not going to eat al-faluda. Al-faluda is very sweet, kind of dessert and very fancy one. He said, why? He said, I can't thank Allah enough for it. It's so sweet. Then he said, yeah, look, you're a loser. You know, you think you can thank Allah enough for the water that you drink? Don't be like that. When he heard the hadith of Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam that the trunk that the Prophet stand on the top of it and make the khutbah, cried after the Prophet Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam left it and started standing on the minbar. He said, if a trunk tree missed the Prophet Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam and cried missing the Prophet Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, don't you think we should belong to the Prophet Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam more and miss the Prophet Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam more? Once he was invited by Amr ibn Hubayra, the ruler of the region in al-Basra, and he said, you know, Yazid is the king and he asked me to do something. I know if I do it, I will displease Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. But if I don't do it, I'll displease Yazid. And if I displease Yazid, he will destroy me. But also if I disobey Allah, he will destroy me. And I don't know what to do. Should I just do it because that's the Khalifas and Allah choose him to be the Khalifa? You know, that's qadar. So he brought Imam Shabi rahimahullah and Ibn Sirin and Al-Hasan al-Basri. So Shabi ibn Sirin gave him a tactful answer, you know, not yes, not no, just they don't want to anger him. As Al-Hasan al-Basri rahimahullah said to him, Ibn Hubayra, son of Hubayra, fear Allah more than Yazid and don't fear Yazid more than Allah. Allah can protect you from Yazid, but Yazid cannot protect you from Allah. Soon the angel of death will come and strip you from your kingdom. And he will take you from this big house that you live in and palace and this soft throne that you're sitting on. He will take you down to a tiny hole in the sand and between the rocks. And in that moment, nothing will help you but your deeds. So you choose for yourself. So he rewarded Ash-Shabi and Ibn Sirin with a small gift, but he gave double that or maybe more to Al-Hasan al-Basri. So Shabi and Sirin looked at each other and said, we gave him cheap words, that's why we got cheap gifts. But he gave him a valuable advice, that's why he got a valuable gift. So let's see what we can learn from this Imam's life. Let's drive some of the lessons that you can see in his life, that we can relate to it today.
SubhanAllah, I mean, wow, I'm just feeling really inspired of such an amazing man. Thank you for that. I would think one of the things that really stands out is the concept.
I can't hear you, by the way.
Sorry, one of the things that really stands out is the issue of zuhud. And I'm always reminded that zuhud is not that you shouldn't own anything. It's that nothing should own you. So you can be someone of this world, and as you can see, Hasan al-Basri, rahimahullah, you know, he enjoyed looking good. He had his muscles. He was noticeable, and you know, in the Prophet's time, language was key. Language was very important. Someone who had high language was someone who was seen high in society, and in our day and age, which is somewhat unfortunate, but we are in the age of, you know, the selfies, the social media, the image, the celebrity culture. And image is so important, and Muslims should be people who have a very good image when people want to be associated with them. So I feel from Hasan al-Basri, I kind of draw that it's okay to be of this world, as long as the world doesn't own you.
To look good. Yeah. You know, you don't need to look cheap.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it doesn't contradict your zud. Being ascetic, it means you have to always to wear like clothes that has holes in it. If Allah bless you with the ability to wear, yes, you know, in Nakhai used to wear clothes only kings wear it. And they told him, why you do that? We know you're poor. He said, I want to honor the ilm. I don't want to look broke in front of these princes and in front of these businessmen who are like fusaq or something like that. He said, I want to honor the ilm. Yes, Muhammad, what you have?
Well, let me say that there are dozens of lessons we can learn from Al-Hasan al-Basri, rahimahullah. But first, like the main thing I see, like one of the great things I learned about him from you today which is something we can reflect on our lives in here, which is
We have 2 minutes left, so we have to do
yeah,
quickly.
letting sleeping dogs lie. You know, like people like when they hear things about like other people, they keep telling, you know, somebody said something bad about you, like they're gonna fight because of that. So you just one of the gay things like Hassan Basri did, that he kept like not talking about such things. And
Yes, don't talk bad about people. You know, just let things go.
yeah,
They have their deeds, you
live
have
by
your
gun,
own
be by
deeds.
gun, and
Very well said.
Yeah.
I think one of the things we can learn, al-ulama are levels. A lot of people think al-ulama is one level. They have many different levels. Like you see al-Hasan al-Basri, they're master. One thing, al-Hasan al-Basri continue growing. That's why 10 years, you're learning something new. It means something can motivate us today to have more
and
committed.
he himself, he
commitment.
renews his knowledge, like
Very
no
good.
more.
I think one of my favorite thing about Imam al-Hasan al-Basri, rahimahullah, he was born into a slave family. Family were slaves. You know, in society, maybe it doesn't look like the family have very bright future, but through education, he was able to make a great name for himself in the future. He never lived like victim. He always lived like a victor, or someone who doesn't live by criticizing his circumstances. He went beyond that. Something maybe to inspire a lot of us, not to cry over our situation, but to make a change and to grow strong.
Yeah.
I think that will bring that into an episode today. Looking forward to continue our talk, inshallah, in a future episode. Wassalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
قل هل يستوي الذين يعلمون